Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the premiere. Well, I'll get to it in a minute. Premiere part 2. Podcast episode number 1. This is Bills Mans and Friends. My name is Bills Man, of course. Some of you guys might know who I am. I do a little TikTok stuff. It's fun. I met this gentleman right here. This is a wizard. He knows his sports. He knows his football. This, my friend, is Juan. You can find him at Brick. Correct me if I'm wrong. I always get this wrong. I feel like I get this wrong. Brick.walls. Underscore. All right. Brick_walls with a Z. Go give him a follow. He knows. I like to pride myself as if I know a little bit about football, a little bit about sports. But talking to this guy, man, it's up here. I'm a little bit down here, but he's got it. He's got it. He's got it, man. He's definitely worth a follow, and he's gonna be along on this journey, man. Essentially, what we're trying to do is just have some fun with this stuff. Talk sports, talk mainly football. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's gonna be mainly football, but we're trying to have fun with this stuff. And fortunately enough, the reason why I say episode 2, I guess 2.0, episode 1, 2.0, you get it. I had a little error. I had a little error with some technical difficulties with our guest today. But graciously enough, thank you. He's able to do it again. Our guest is actually Brad Johnson, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Right now, got to quote unquote pay the bills, right? So we're gonna hit you with this, right? BetUS. BetUS is a sportsbook casino app that if you don't have it, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, man. We got $50 free money. Free's for me. I already spent mine up last week, so it's gone. Mine's gone. $3, 50 of them. Just sign up. No deposit is required. That's a big thing. Sometimes you get a little sportsbook action where they want you to shell out 100 and they'll give you $10. Not here. $50 free money at sign up, no deposit necessary. Use this link. I promise you it's worth it. If you know how to bet, unlike me, you win money. tinyurl.com/Billsman. That's tinyurl.com/Billsman for real. Okay, Billsman for real. I'm definitely going to link this in the show notes. But listen, all you got to do is just sign up, man. You get the free money. You get the freedom to do the bets. I think there's a little limit. Obviously, you can't go crazy, but a plus 10,000 parlay. They don't want to pay. They don't want to pay that much out on the free money. But end of the day, it's free money. Do with it as you please. tinyurl.com/Billsman for real. $50, no deposit needed. BetUS.com. Let's go. Juan, let's get into it. I need your thoughts. I talk too damn much. I need your thoughts. What the hell is going on with this Stefon Diggs drama? I need to know. Am I panicking when I say, first of all, that if Stefon Diggs is gone, let's say, I know there's like a $45 million dead cap hit. If he is not on the Buffalo Bills this upcoming season, number one, all this stuff is a waste. And number two, our wide receiver core instantly becomes mids. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that totally. I don't think that, losing Stefon Diggs makes the Bills better in no scenario. I don't care who the trade is for, what it's for. It doesn't make a difference. The chemistry that him and Josh Allen have had has been successful. But obviously there's some turmoil, not only just with Stefon Diggs. He's getting attention because obviously he's going about it. Maybe some don't feel the right way, but what is the right way? To just stick around and accept it, So he's a dog, man. You gotta love Stefon Diggs, man. I think they give him not enough credit. They just came out with the list. He's number 20. I'm saying, I get that you feel that guys are, better than him. I get that. But don't give me 20 people better than him. don't tell me that he's the 20th best player. Like, don't do that. So it's like, as the team gets closer to training camp and the season, man, I think that it has a lot to do with not only him and Josh Allen, but him and the coaching staff, as well as maybe him wanting more on the team, maybe addressing the team. It was nice with Dalton Kincaid, but maybe we have an opportunity to be lethal. Let's just put it out there. Well, we're not going to play games like this team is set. There's a reason why we haven't won the Super Bowl yet, because we're not complete. So when you look at this team and you say they're Super Bowl bound, they have an opportunity, we're tired of hearing that. Stefon Diggs is tired of hearing that. He wants solutions added, or he wants solutions solved when it comes to the wide receiver core. He's supposed to say Gabe Davis is a great teammate. He's not supposed to dog him out. We have a chance to have DeAndre Hopkins. Bro, make it work. That's that shows.
Now let me stop you. Let me interject here.
Okay.
From what I'm hearing, he's unhappy, right? There's a little bit of tension between. Now, do you think a guy like Stefon Diggs, who everybody in the world knows that has ever watched a football game, especially the Buffalo Bills football game like we have, he's a dog, he's a competitor, and he wants to win. But more importantly, just like every other wide receiver, in my opinion, they want the ball because they know what they can do with it when they have it in their hands.
Yes,
do you think maybe Diggs has been hearing about, oh, the Bills wide receivers aren't enough. They're not good enough. Let's go get the Bills should go sign Odell Beckham. The Bills should go sign a guy like DeAndre Hopkins. When you hear that, if you're a Stefon Diggs, let's talk as if you're Stefon Diggs and see if your opinion matches mine. If you're Stefon Diggs and you hear that the Buffalo Bills need all these guys, right? They need another number one. They need another weapon. Do you at all get frustrated with hearing that? Or is it just like, all right, let's get this money. Let's get another guy. Because in my opinion, something tells me a guy like that, a competitor of that nature, is going to give you he's going to say, why can't I get the targets? I'm open. My route win rate is as high as anybody else's in the league. So why can't I get the ball? What do you think?
Well, first of all, if I'm Stefon Diggs, I'm gonna have a reality check and understand that even Jerry Rice had John Taylor. You have to have someone as equal as the dog in a sense of maybe not as performing better, but someone that competes the way you do. You have to have that on the side of you. With all due respect to Gabe Davis, with all due respect to Dalton Kincaid, with all due respect to Dawson Knox, the running back in Baby Cook, I respect your abilities, but that does not mean that you guys are enough. It's proven. Kansas City has shown you. Yeah, they replace guys, but they always get that one guy that says, you know what, if I go here, I possibly can win the championship. I allow the receiver. I don't even like him. I don't want to talk about his name, but he came from Pittsburgh and went there and won a chip, and he's somewhere else, and I'm glad he's not a Bill. But
TikTok boy.
Right. Oh, God. But you have to, when you have the opportunity to go get, and let me take you back for a second, okay? The night that DeAndre Hopkins went to, and this was late, this was like 10 o'clock at night. DeAndre Hopkins was traded from the Houston Texans to the Arizona Cardinals. The Bills were in dire need of a receiver, okay? And they did not get DeAndre Hopkins. What they did was they did what they wanted to do prior to the season even being over with. They tried to trade for Stefon Diggs. It didn't go through. Here we are now at the end of the season. Stefon Diggs wants out. They went and got him. They needed that. They did that after Arizona. Now You're telling me a few years later, you have the opportunity to have both of these guys on a team. I don't give a crap what you say as a number one receiver. You don't want some help at the other receiver. So you're going to catch all the passes? Because we have to be honest. All great receivers has had that guy next to them. Randy Moss, Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens is much more stupid, but that's a whole nother topic. But that's a whole other topic. But you do have so many different players that I'm not. Anyway, I don't. I'm sorry, sir. I apologize.
Oh, you're
Yes,
good.
I
You're good.
apologize. But you have those players that are dogs, bro. That you have to have that B guy, even an AB. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like you have to have that one guy. And so I don't believe that. I maybe he does feel that he wants the ball over this competition that's on the team. If he's saying that this is what you're going to throw to, then why not throw to me? I can understand that. But when you don't have that next guy, we keep waiting for Gabe Davis to break out. Yes, he broke out in the playoffs. What happened after that?
That's one game. That's one game. I agree with you. That's one
You know what
game.
I mean? And lastly, and I know I'm going crazy, but lastly, and I feel strong about my Bills, as you can tell, but
It's your show too,
they
brother. You got the stage. Let's go.
Josh Allen, when they took those losses last season, Josh Allen threw about 4 passes that were either game tying or taking the lead passes to players like Gabe Davis, Isaiah McKenzie, and that core, besides Stefon Diggs. And you know what happened on all those passes? They all were
Nothing
dropped.
positive. Yep.
And Gabe Davis on a 4th and about 14, Josh Allen threw about a 40-something yard pass on the money to him, and he dropped it. So I think that has more to do with how Stefon Diggs feels about the distributing of the ball. If you're going to pass it to this, then you might as well just take your chances with passing it to me because I've shown you I can get it done. You know what I mean? So that's just my opinion, man. You know.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And you know, it comes out and says, you know, you hear tweets, you hear the media, Buffalo media, you hear who even knows in Twitter nowadays. I guess everybody gets a blue check if you pay for it. But I heard at least that Chad Hall, which is, for those that don't know, the ex Buffalo Bills wide receiver coach, he coached him last year and previous years before, him leaving. Listen, it's a hell of a coach. It's a hell of a coach to let walk. And you're going to hear a lot of people say, "Oh, it's just a position coach. Just replace him."
Oh.
Bonds are a lot stronger than just that.
Yes.
But you get a guy who, you know, for all intents and purposes, we've heard over and over again that he was a well-liked coach, a well-respected coach. And you hear it now more that Diggs, this whole Diggs situation, you hear how much Diggs appreciated Hall, respected Hall, wanted him to be retained. He walked. Who knows what happened? I don't know anything. I'm sure you don't either.
Right.
But when you hear, if you're Stefon Diggs, and again, I'm playing into it being in his mindset. If you're Stefon Diggs, right, and I hear that my position coach is no longer with the team, he's no longer being retained, he's not in any contention to remain with the Buffalo Bills. Okay. But then the year previous, another guy, Josh Allen, had his guy not only go from a quarterback's coach, unproven quarterback coach, I must say, to then getting a promotion and full control of the offense. After, mind you, after Brian Daboll, who has, in my opinion, he's transcended the Giants into something very special, and it's going to be years to come. A guy like that leaves, and Josh Allen fights for Ken Dorsey to not go take the offensive coordinator position behind Daboll with the Giants, but rather stay here, be my offense coordinator. Does that play a part, in your opinion, to maybe what Diggs is feeling? Because they said it's nothing on the field. They said everything's off the field. What we do know is, we know that. We'll take their word for it. We do know it's certainly not about playing for a team who's not good, because we both know the Buffalo Bills are in Super Bowl contention every year. It's not about money, because like I said, he just restructured his contract from this past offseason, or this current offseason, I should say. He's due a lot of money. So if it's not about playing for a bad team, and if it's not about not getting paid, do you think, in your opinion, Juan, do you think that has something to do with it? The Chad Hall situation, Chad Hall, Ken Dorsey, Josh Allen relationship.
I think it plays a role. You can't. have a guy who's been around him, who's assisted in him coming and transitioning to Buffalo from Minnesota, pretty much taking a losing franchise. We have been losing for quite some time. Let's be real about this situation. And Stefon Diggs coming to Buffalo was the dog that was necessary. We just had the last guy that I could say was even remotely close to playing prior to him and having that dog. I mean, I give it to Shady. He was great, but Terrell Owens, and it was for a short, older Terrell Owens.
1 year.
So
1 year.
right. And it was for 1 year. And he still has the record. Well, actually doesn't. Gabe Davis just broke it. But he had the longest catch in a Bills uniform, which was amazing. He did it in 1 year. But to Stefon Diggs, he obviously has to feel, man, I would think. I'm not a voice for Stefon Diggs. I don't know Stefon Diggs. I'm just a fan of Stefon Diggs.
Full disclaimer, people,
sometimes
we don't know shit.
Want to try to minimize and then say you said this about Stefon. Let's get that established. But Stefon Diggs has to be, one would think, and how do you get rid of a guy that is helping our receiver room? He's an addition to our receiver room. When they go on the road, that stuff means a lot to them, man, to have those coaches who are more, I want to say, family oriented. You know what I mean? This is a brotherhood. This is like, nothing to do. This is something that these guys are traveling a lot. They're away from their families. Sometimes their families come with them. And these men that they're around, they become family. So to see him just exit because he wanted more, maybe, obviously, Chad Hall wanted a bigger role with the team. Well, why not try to address that in some form? And it's a bigger picture because I don't think it's just Chad Hall. I mean, if you look at our head coach, and I don't mean to just flip the topic, but to be honest, man, I love him as a coach. I think he's a great coach. I think he was necessary to come to Buffalo at that time when he did come. Having said that, though, he's the one that has not progressed. We're talking about how Josh Allen progressed. We're talking about how Stefon Diggs transitioned. We talk about how Brian Daboll has transitioned the Giants to where they will be more than likely looking like maybe the Bills or a better Bills, what we should have been. I think that, me personally, I think that I would have gave that some consideration before I just let him walk, because this coach has not become better. He's the same coach to me that he has been prior to coming to Buffalo. And that's just the facts, bro. When you look at the coaches that he's been outcoached by, yes, of course, Andy Reid has outcoached a bunch of coaches. So we don't look at that. I don't look at the Kansas City losses as the worst thing for Buffalo. They lost to eventual Super Bowl champions, bro. So, and we're not the only team that lost to them. But when you look at teams like Miami, where this guy came from not even coaching that long in San Francisco. I mean, a part of the organization, a part of coaching, but not in that role in San Francisco. He comes over here and outcoaches him 3 times last year. That's just a fact. That's not opinionated. He outcoached our coach 3 times last season. So when is he going to get over the hump and start out coaching coaches or making better decisions in those crunch times? And if you look at a lot of the play that has transpired, maybe Diggs could be saying to himself, well, when is the coach going to start making better decisions in those crucial moments as well? You just let Chad Hall leave, and maybe he feels some type of way about that correlation. I don't know. I mean, that's just my opinion.
I mean, I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that. But one thing I will say is, you've seen it addressed, right? You've seen it, the 13-second loss. The following year, special team coordinator gone. We still didn't get an answer of what happened. A real answer, I should say.
Right.
This past year, there was tension between not this past year, the year prior. There was tension between Daboll and McDermott. This past year, our defense made zero adjustments. Not a single adjustment in that Cincinnati Bengal game. We essentially ran a cover 2, your basic looking cover 2. There was I'm not sure if it was, it slipped my mind. I'm not sure if it was a 3rd down or 4th down play where we're looking to make a stop, have them punt the ball. We're off coverage and rush 7. It was third and medium to gain. So you pit You pit the I got a little dog barking out the window. you pit the,
What's on
you
the
pit
show?
the maybe next week, buddy. So you pit the blame on Leslie Frazier, right? It's clear as day that I'm not buying the retirement if he's visiting with the Packers and the Giants about potentially coming back and being some type of assistant coach. Meanwhile, under contract with the Buffalo Bills still. I'm not buying that it's a retirement. I didn't from day one. Let's be clear about that. I didn't believe that he just said I can't do this anymore. I retire. I quit. I didn't buy it, especially after the backlash that he got, because I know I was one of his hardest critics. Do we think that maybe, not being the right guy, all that aside, do we think maybe that McDermott is just, I don't want to say stuck in the ways or hard headed, but very like stubborn? Do we think that it's almost at a point where it's a detriment, as opposed to, when he first got here, you saw guys like Ronald Darby go, Sammy Watkins go, Marcel Darius go, and he brought in guys that fit the culture of what he was trying to build. Do we think it's become to a point? I guess you can say it's becoming a detriment. Do you think it's at a point where this could possibly, not only ruin this year, but ruin next year, and then the following year, up until a point where McDermott's not the coach anymore?
Well, first of all, I think this is a big year for Sean McDermott. I'm not one of those guys that think his job is safe. I think this is pretty much going to be the year where they're going to make a decision. The Pagulas and they're going to have a strong conversation with the great one at GM there. I think they're going to have a conversation about Sean McDermott not being the coach. You can't just continuously go in. This is what I mean. A coach leaving the team under those circumstances is an obvious head coach issue. Let's look at the dynamic of that. Why would the coach just be off talking to other teams while he's visiting other teams, while he's being paid by this team? So it's obviously maybe Sean McDermott feels that he has to do a better job, or he was given the opportunity to say, hey, look, some changes have to be made. Where do you think the changes need to be made? And he said maybe defense. I can't speak for Sean McDermott, but these are – what else can we say? Maybe he's being told that. And if you look at this season, would be season 7 for Sean McDermott. I think it's season 7, 8, 7.
It's 6 or 7. It's 6 or 7, because I know yes, I think it's 6. I think it's year 6, because Dawkins is going into 7. He was drafted the year prior.
Okay, so yes, you're right. So, okay, thank you. So
somebody got to fact check that for me. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. We know me.
we're not going to talk facts. We just know that it happened. And so I'm looking at Sean McDermott, man, and I'm saying he has to do a better job. You're going to have some teams this season. You're going to have the Philadelphia Eagles, the Kansas City Chiefs. You're going to have some tough road games, some tough teams, some tough defenses, some tough offenses that you're going to have to be the head coach that you have been.
AFC East 6 times.
Like, come on. So that's my big thing. I obviously Stefon Diggs, that's what we were originally at, talking about him. But I just think that it's big for Sean McDermott, and maybe Stefon Diggs feels that way, man. Remember, you had Odell Beckham Jr. You mentioned him earlier when he was trying to get here. Who knows why those big notch players don't come here for the minimum? If you thought, as a player, that I could win a championship if I go to this team, well, teams are lining up to go to Kansas City. Teams are lining up right now in these last couple of years to go to Philadelphia. Teams are lining up to go to San Francisco. Teams are lining up in certain area teams. Yes, we've got Von Miller. Yes, we made some big signings. But there are signings that we could have made and we didn't. And that falls on the lines of obviously our coach and Mr. Bean. So we're not getting rid of Mr. Bean. I mean, he's done a hell of a job. He's brought some great talent in. Him and McDermott together, this has been a great combination.
I don't think you can. I don't think there's any scenario where you fire Bean.
No question. However, I think there is a scenario where Bean has to come to the realization that he may have to fire Sean McDermott.
I can agree. I mean, to an extent, like I said, I'm a McDermott guy. I'm whole and whole with Sean McDermott. And part of it could be Dick Geron. I don't even know. Mike Mularkey. Where do you want me to begin? Rex Ryan on a spite year. He got fired from the Jets. He didn't want to be a Bills coach. He wanted to be a Jet. But you get these guys, right? You get these coaches, and then you go straight from that dumpster fire to a guy that changes the entire culture. So I might be a little impartial. It is what it is. But to me, it has to be a make or break year simply for the fact that your special teams coordinator gone after the 13-second game. Brian Daboll, who you were at odds with for whatever reason, I don't know. I don't necessarily even care. He's gone, albeit got a coaching spot. Chad Hall, clearly there was some stuff there because he left on his own, gone. And now Leslie Frazier, gone. There are no more scapegoats here. So I wouldn't quite go as far as like you are to say it's a make or break for him as a coach for the Buffalo Bills. But I will say this is going to be a telling year for what's going to happen in the future. Not necessarily after this year, but 2 years, 3 years. Is he going to be there in 3 years? I think this year is a make or break. And I'm not necessarily saying we have to go out and win a Super Bowl. We don't. Let's be real. We don't. But what we have to do is we have to look like we're ready to show up to a AFC divisional game at home in our weather. The Buffalo Bills are known for playing in the snow, okay? It snowed. It was cold. It was shitty. We had every chance to step up, and we didn't do it, okay? So now all the scapegoat talk, all that's gone. That's out the window. There's no more of it. So, I mean, like I said, I don't necessarily think it's a make or break after this season, but this is damn telling of what's going to be happening in the future. So,
Well, I think, if I may, I think the reason why I say that is because Sean McDermott doesn't have the excuse that some of these other coaches have had. A lot of these coaches have not had the franchise quarterback. You have the franchise quarterback. So, remember, Leslie Frazier didn't have the franchise quarterback. Chad Hall didn't have the franchise quarterback. The special teams, they didn't have the franchise quarterback. They had just one spot to direct. He has the power of all of these directions. And my thinking is that these guys aren't getting younger as we go along. Josh Allen is going into his prime as we're approaching this now. We have to start talking about this. So you're going to tell me you're going to give Sean McDermott another 3 years, another 2 years to continue to be a team that possibly goes to the AFC Championship? That's not good enough. The talent that you have had, you had the talent 2 years ago with 13 seconds in the lead to go to the Super Bowl. You chose not to go. Let's just talk about it. We can't just talk about his greatness and changes of the team, which we appreciate. But the fact, remember, we get down to it. This is a business. So Sean McDermott, you can't keep going in season to season with the 11, 12, 13 win seasons, getting gypped out of being the coach of the year, because I do believe he should have had one by now. But
I agree.
Let's be real, because we did transition quite well. But Andy Reid, but anyway, I don't want to talk about that. But he has to, you know what I mean? Like, they give it to a guy that obviously he should have won the Super Bowl. But you have not the excuse of these people, man. And you have to start being accountable for the way this team and the direction they're going in as well, too.
That's fair. And to be honest with you, I like the wording you said. You might not even have caught what you just said, but we chose to lose that game, that 13-second game. I like that wording because we chose to kick it deep. We chose to play.
I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to stop right there. You see what you just said? We chose to kick it deep. They don't even have 13 seconds if it doesn't go deep. If you kick the ball on the ground, they have it at the most 11 seconds, maybe 10 seconds. You know what I mean? So now you're talking about, instead of 3 plays, you're talking about 2 to 1. You know what I mean? That changes everything. That's being out coached. You give them an opportunity. We're better than you. We're going to kick you the ball. Yeah? If I had Josh Allen with 13 seconds, I would think the same thing. Detroit knows that. There are a lot of teams that know that. So
especially the way they were cooking. They're cooking on offense. You might have just swayed me, bro. I'm not gonna lie. You might have just swayed me just a little bit.
This is crazy, man. I just hope. I mean, I'm not I'm not wishing Sean McDermott to be fired. I like Sean McDermott.
Obviously,
I love the way that he
Sean
has transitioned.
Sean McDermott gets fired. That means we're in another year of talking about, oh, what if we beat Team A? What if we beat so and so? We should have won, or all Music City Miracle, wide right, 13 seconds, and now the Bengals game into debacle, and then insert Team A.
That was really terrible. I mean, it was obvious that the performing. Come on, man. This is ridiculous, man. This is ridiculous. To have the talent that you had and you played like that, you took your team. Excuse me, you didn't take your team anywhere. You stayed home to do that. That was a bad performance, man.
I think we can definitely agree that there's no more of the scapegoat talk. Like, oh well, it was Leslie Frazier. He was calling the defense. I didn't tell. I said kick it a squib, maybe a few yards short of the end zone, but the kicker or the coordinator, we just kicked it deep. The wide receiver coach isn't really getting the job done. I have beef with our offensive coordinator. There's none of that anymore, in my opinion. The only thing that's going to really, like I said, to me, it's just a telling year. I don't want to say it's a make or break. You did sway me just a little bit. But to me, like, it's more so, what do we got? What do we got now? What do we have with our head coach? And are we going to be able to do this with him? Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, it's the episode 2.0. We had some technical issues, as some will attest to, but gracious enough, two-time Pro Bowler, 17-year veteran. Am I right on that one? 17 years?
17 years. Yep. Got it.
17-year pro veteran in the NFL. Something better than anybody in this chat, except for the person that's doing it, can do. Most importantly, Super Bowl champion, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brad Johnson. Let's go.
All right. First time on the show, so I appreciate you starting out with me. So we'll hopefully make some memories tonight.
We're going to go, I appreciate you saying the first time on the show. Like I said, we had some technical difficulties. We actually are re-recording. It's on me. I can't blame anybody but myself. It's on me. I'm still learning technology myself. So, but I'm so grateful that, you gave me another day, another time. I think I can speak for Juan. We are so thankful that you're joining us here again. So let's have some fun, man. So right off the bat, I think I might have asked you a couple of questions prior, but I'm going to try to reword them just a little bit. Maybe I'll get a little bit more juice out of the lemon, if you know what I mean. So we talked about your sons in our previous recording, Max and Jake, tight end quarterback combination for the Texas A&M Aggies, which is incredible. What's it like, looking back on your career, like I said, you've played 17 years, Pro Bowls, Super Bowls, accolades, all that stuff. Which is more of a fulfilling, I don't want to say, I guess I'll say fulfilling just for the lack of better wording, but what's more fulfilling to you as a human, your accomplishments, or being able to watch your sons, play on a D1 level, such a large scale for the whole world to see? Which in your opinion is more fulfilling?
Well, I've already had my time, and my parents, they gave me every opportunity in life that I could ever have. They started up leagues for me. They coached my teams, got me involved in everything that you could ever think of. And so really you kind of want to pay it forward. And now that my career is over, and I've been blessed and fortunate with my wife, Nikki, that, I was able to coach all their teams, baseball, football, and basketball, from the youth leagues, middle school, all the way through high school. And really, you just want to see whatever your kid is. You want your kid to blaze their own trail, whatever it may be, sports or music or academics, whatever it is. And so for Max, he's a quarterback. It was easy to coach him because it was more about how to hold the ball and grip the ball and how to call a play in a huddle and 3-step, 5-step, 7-step drop and how to read coverages. But my other son, Jake, who's a little bit 2 years younger than Max, I didn't know how to teach him how to run a route or how to block. or any of those kind of things. So I was more like, just go get it, son. You know, so it's really kind of coaching two different positions, but really just kind of want them to succeed at whatever their ability will let them be. And so it's fun now as a parent. I sit up in the stands. I'm just eating popcorn and Coke and just kind of be a moral support in every way that I can.
Now you say you're the moral support. You're the rock of those kids. And as every good father, you know, that's our goal. What's it like on Saturdays? What's it like on Saturdays? You know, I guess this might be more so for the wife, because I know we have a son, a 7-year-old, and we're pretty competitive in our house. Oh, we lost him. I think we lost him.
Hey, sorry about that.
No worries. No worries.
Okay.
No worries.
I couldn't get off my kids. There was actually Max, and I couldn't get off the screen. I took you off the screen. So sorry about that.
Hey, if you got to talk to Max,
We're
Max
good.
is more important
Okay.
than Max is more important than us. So if you got to talk to him, we got to talk to him.
We're all good.
So before a little technical error, I guess my question is more so maybe for the wife, because like I said, I have a 7-year-old. We're very competitive in our house. We try to push him to be as great as he can and teach him that 100% effort is the only way to do things. What's the stress level like? What's the stress level like watching, you know, not one, but 2 sons play Division I athletics?
Yeah, it's like you kind of got your head on a swivel. I remember when they were playing baseball in Little League, and one was on one team and one's on another team, and they're both on the pitcher's mound, and I'm trying to watch both games at the same time. And it's tough, you know what I mean? And but you know, for a quarterback, it's easy to keep your eyes on a quarterback because that's the position. Tight end, like, what are they doing, and do they get their block right? But you also, like, where they line up in the stretching lineups. Are they healthy? Are they good? You know what I mean? Like, and so you kind of watch both on a swivel. But you know, at the end of the day, like, they're on their own. They got their own coaches. I mean, when I was coaching them growing up, I could yell from the sidelines and tell them to look out for a certain blitz or throw to a certain guy. But you know, 100,000 people, they can't hear you for that blitzer. Look out! They can't hear that. And so now it's really more of a support system during the game. Yeah, I mean, my wife and I, we sit there and kind of rub shoulders, like, just, you hope everybody plays a good play, but it's tough. It is stressful. It is, but you know that, you know, the kids, they have great coaches, they have great teammates, and you really kind of want to be there with them after the game, whether it's a good or bad or however it comes out. It's a little bit more stressful as you get going at the, you know, in front of 100,000 people than it was, you know, playing middle school football.
100,000 people. I might have had 1,000 people at my high school game as the most max capacity. 100,000 people. Yeah. I don't know what I would do. That's wild. So now, digging a little deeper. Your sons, I know Max, right? Is the quarterback?
Right. Max is the older.
Okay. Yeah. Max is the quarterback. Now, he originally was, I believe, Miami University or the U. Or no, LSU. I'm sorry.
He was at LSU. Yep. LSU.
Okay. There it is. The other U, I guess. I don't know. So having one being recruited and then essentially transferring over to Texas A&M, and then Jake followed. What was the recruiting process like for not only for you and your wife as parents, but what was the recruiting process like for your sons, you know, as the players and having to deal with coaches coming in and out, phone calls, texts, emails, all that, et cetera?
It's totally different for both kids. You know, from 8th grade on, we were going to every college camp and all the rivals, and Elite 11 kind of camps, all those kind of things. And, you know, you make these relationships with all these coaches all these years. And then when Max was getting ready to be a senior, like when you break it down to the top 10 schools, like 7 of those head coaches were gone. When he got there, either they got fired or they went on to a different job or they retired. So like when do you make your decision? Like, and you're looking for systems, you're looking for location, you're looking for what's the lineup as far as other quarterbacks on the roster. Like, it's tough for a quarterback. A tight end, you can just kind of go, just kind of fit in and get in. And but trying to find the right system also. But Jake had met all these coaches and heard all the conversations with Max on the phone, or whether going to coaches' offices. And one day you're having a meeting with Nick Saban and Kirby Smart and Dabo Sweeney, and then like, where are we going? And so for Max, he chose to go to LSU. He started for about a year and a half there. And but it was really kind of crazy. He won his last game winning throwing touchdown against Texas A&M and beats them. And then a week and a half later, he's actually transferring there to them to play for them. So a lot of reasons go into it. It's not for the transfer portal. It's really crazy. It's not for every kid. And sometimes you got to make the right decision for you. And I actually think it's been a good decision for both of them. Not just on the field, but more so off the field. It's been really good for both of them.
And that was the plan for the younger one to follow Big Bro?
Originally, Jake had committed to LSU. But Jake got committed. He was the number one tight end coming out of the country. And I think it was really between LSU and Oklahoma when he decided. And then he ended up going to LSU. But then there's some things that took place. Jake had actually he kind of decommitted before Max actually decided to transfer. So there's a lot going on there. It's hard to go into all the details of what really, really happened. But for both of them, they felt like they made a wise choice for both of them. But you just never know. You make decisions at the present time, and then you have to live with it afterwards. And so it is what it is. It's different stories for everybody. And that's why you have to blaze your own trail, and it's your own journey at the end of the day. But they're roommates together at Texas A&M. They get to live with each other. It's a dream come true for both of us, for my wife, Nikki, and I, just to have our kids be together.
That's awesome. Juan, you got any questions, Juan?
Oh, yes, sir. First of all, I want to say yes, Mr. Brad Johnson, Super Bowl champion, man, two-time Pro Bowler, like you said again, obviously the 17-year career, man. A pleasure, man, not only speaking to you, man, but spending some time and getting a great understanding as to, the dad you are now compared to the player that you were. And I want to say kudos for picking a Nikki, because my wife's name is Nikki as well. So you did a great job there too. So you're like a winner all the way around the board, man. You got kids in college, you got the great wife, you had the great career. I want to be like Brad when I get older. But I just got a two-part question for you. First, how was the transition from being a player and now seeing the free agency, if you will, in college now, being a parent, a part of that period, and then entrusting the coaches that you have to entrust with your children as they transition from high school to college?
It's really hard, Juan. It's out of control, to be honest with you. From going through the recruiting process to making these relationships, and then are the coaches going to be there or not? And then you're trying to get education, you're trying to play, all the above. The transfer portal is real. It's hard to explain. It's really kind of real for the coaches too. You got coaches leaving during the middle of the season that are taking other jobs too. So there's no certainty of anything nowadays. So when I played at Florida State, we had Bobby Bowden, who went over 360 games, was there for 34 years. Like, that was your coach. He wasn't going to get fired. All the assistants were there. No one was leaving. Like, times have changed, whether it's good or bad or whatever it is. And so the portal's a good thing for some people, but I think some kids, when they leave, they put the name in the portal. Like, you better have a plan of where you want to go, or hopefully you get picked back up. And this NIL thing is real too. So not every kid makes money. Some kids are making money. Then you got some kids that are holding out, saying, I'm going to transfer if I don't get paid more. You got dads calling, saying, my kid's going to transfer if you don't pay anymore. Like, and really for us as a parent, like, all I want for our kids is just to be developed on and off the field, to be taught the right way, work ethic, a winning culture, all those kind of things. So it's like, some things you always ask for is not always true. And but that's what you want for your kid. You want to instill making good decisions, right choices, being with the right kind of people. And you pray on it every day, to be honest with you. So it's potluck, but at the end of the day, it's the kid's journey. You want what's best for them. So times have changed from when we grew up, and it's just the way it is nowadays.
And if I may, because the last time that we spoke and our voices was obviously not recorded because somebody was tarnishing. No, I'm kidding. The last time that we spoke, though, we spoke a lot about that transition right there. You know, the college thing, the parenting, and I wanted to get back into it if I may, when it pertains to you look at your both of your sons and the fear, because a lot of parents have fear for their kids playing football. A lot of parents are not willing to. Obviously, we have a lot that do, but there are a lot of parents that fear it. What is that like being a parent and the wife? You see her, she maybe had concerns, or maybe a younger sibling may have concerns. What do you say to the parents if they have those fears about their children playing sports?
Well, the one thing we always learn in coach speak is the only thing you ever control is your attitude and effort. The rest of it is out of your control. So you want to learn how to deal with adversity. You got to learn how to deal with injuries. You got to learn how to deal with failures. And then hopefully you have success along the way too. So all those are above. And I would tell parents, like at an early age with kids, let them deal with some adversity. Let them fail. You know, let them. You know, if they get in trouble in school, don't call the teacher. Let them have the student teacher conversation if they need to. Yeah, let the kids make their own peanut butter and jelly sandwich and go to school. If they forget their lunch, don't take it to them. Let them suffer for a day. It's okay, and then but learn how to deal. And it's tough as a parent when you send your kid off to college. You want them to be in a good environment. On and off the field, be surrounded by great teammates, great friends, and have a college experience. And but you know, when you play sports, you're going to deal anything in life. You're going to deal with adversity. You're going to deal with some tough times. And the saying that tough people last longer than tough times, and that's part of the growing up process too. So, and hopefully we instill that with our kids along the way, and that's what they're dealing with every day now. And usually, you know, good things will happen if you just kind of stay the course and make the right decisions and take care of your attitude and effort. And good things usually happen over the long haul.
Wow. Thanks, man.
That's
Wow,
incredible.
man. Word.
That's incredible insight, man. I like it. It's almost like, you know, you fall off the bike, you scrape your knee, but the skin heals, it calluses over, it gets tougher. That's an incredible way to look at everything. So now I have to ask. I know I asked it last time. I need to hear it again. We were talking shortly about Wade Phillips and his tenure with the Buffalo Bills. As you know, we're both Bills fans. It wasn't what I feel like it should have been. I feel like the talent he had may or may not. And I know it's easy as a fan to sit here and say that, oh, this guy stinks. You get him off the team, he's terrible. I understand that. I try not to do that. I'm growing up. But Wade Phillips, you know, he may some people could say he's not a good coach. Wasn't built to be a head coach in the NFL. Well, he's only a coordinator. Do you think in today's game, a guy like Wade Phillips I know the age, discounting the age, the whole age thing. Do you think a guy like Wade Phillips, given the right talent around him, do you think he could thrive as a head coach? Because me and Juan were having a discussion about the current coach for the Buffalo Bills, Sean McDermott, and how I think Juan seems to be on the train where McDermott's more of a defensive coordinator rather than a head coach, because clearly you probably know way more than us about the head coach overseeing everything. Do you think a guy like Wade Phillips, who, again, some people think he didn't have the right setup in Buffalo, others think that he just flat out failed. Do you think a guy like that could succeed in today's football?
Yeah, I think there's different kinds of coaches. You got your CEO coach, you got your offensive head coach, you got your defensive head coach, you got your, all those kind of things. It's different ways that they talk to the team and the way they build the team and where's the money at. Is more money on the defensive side or on the offensive side, those kind of things. But I played for Wade Phillips for 2 years in Dallas, and I absolutely loved him as my head coach. He was great. He actually was hands off on the defense. He actually became more of a CEO in Dallas, to be honest with you. And one year we were the number one team in the NFC. The next year, I think we had a decent year, whatever. But and then if you actually look at Wade Phillips this past year, his team I think went to the championship or something in the XFL. They had a really good year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Wade's won 2 Super Bowls as the defensive coordinator. He had a good run in Dallas. And then after a 6 or 7 year run, I think we all head coaches, you kind of run your time. But I thought he was actually in Buffalo, they had a great team. And that was the year Doug Flutie, he ran off with it and great things were happening. And then remember, they made a replacement with Rob Johnson. They lost in the Miracle. They lost in the Miracle throwback game. And
Was
and
it
then,
well, for the record?
Yeah, don't. Oh, God.
I gotta put him on spot one. For the record, forward pass or was it a lateral? In your opinion?
was that wide check to Dyson? Was that what that was?
Yep.
I'm gonna say forward pass. Forward pass.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Thank you for
glad
that.
you said that, sir. Thank you.
But no, let me just say this about Wade Phillips. I think he was awesome head coach, great person, one of the all-time legends of pro football, and someone that has mentored many other coaches around him. It's just so hard to win at the next level. It's just hard to win. And so you don't want to be defined by just, did I win a Super Bowl or not? But he was just a great coach and great mentor for so many players and coaches. He's loved by everybody. I can't say he would have too many enemies, to be honest with you. So much respect to Wade Phillips.
I've always been on the train. I just feel as if he, the switch going from Doug Flutie to Rob Johnson kind of is what tarnished him in Buffalo. From a fan's perspective, at least mine.
And it worked. I mean, they were winning. I mean, it worked for the game. Rob Johnson actually won the game for him, and then you lose on the miracle throwback. So that's part of the decision making you make, and those kind of things you have to live with.
I say that more so, I think, the fandom that Flutie brought, the Flutie Flakes, right. He was cover boy of a lot of things. So I think that maybe my view is a little skewed more so as like a fan, but Wade Phillips, you really enjoyed playing for Wade Phillips, Coach Phillips, obviously. Who was one of your favorite coaches of all time at any level? More so college or NFL?
Yeah, let me just give you a quick little rundown. My high school coach, Bill Burrows, was an incredible basketball coach. Big impact on my life. Kenny Ford was my high school football coach. Actually taught me back into playing. I wasn't going to play my senior year. He taught me into playing. He was the first-time high school coach. And then Mark Richt was my college QB coach, who actually became my brother-in-law. Has been
brother-in-law,
head coach at Georgia and Miami. And then Bobby Bowden, incredible legend. And then Denny Green, Brian Billick. Loved playing for him in Minnesota for 7 years. And North Turner, loved playing for him. And obviously he played for Tony Dungy and John Gruden and Wade Phillips. Like, I'm giving you the Hall of Fame of coaches that I had. Like, I really can't say I had too many bad experiences as a coach, as people coach me, but just legends. And a lot of them, my QB coaches and coaches I had, offensive coordinators, I still stay in touch with them to this day. So just blessed to have so many of great ones that I played for.
All right, transition from that. I understand you don't want to say too many names here, but I'm going to try to ask the hard-hitting questions from fans. Going from who was your favorite NFL head coach, college head coach? Who was your favorite teammate of all time, college or pro?
I had 3 great teammates.
Because we know you've played with. I know you played with Charlie Ward, who is a Knicks point guard legend, Heisman winner legend. To guys like Warwick Dunn, Derek Brooks, countless names. Sapp.
Yeah, I played with many Hall of Famers, Sapp and Rondé Barber and John Lynch and Derrick Brooks and Chris Carter and Randy Moss. Like, the list goes on. But the 3 best teammates that I had, and probably leaders of the team, I'd say John Lynch in Tampa Bay, who's now general manager for the 49ers. Jason Witten at Dallas, who will be, if he wanted a college job, he would have one right away. He'll be a Hall of Famer here pretty soon. And the other one was my roommate, and his name is Chris Walsh in Minnesota. We played together for 6 years. Led the Vikings at all-time tackles on special teams. Incredible leader, incredible teammate. All 3 of those guys. So just thankful for those 3 guys: Chris Walsh, John Lynch, and Jason Witten.
That's incredible. That's incredible. Juan, do you have any you got any another question for him?
I just say, man, first, John Lynch is one of my favorite players, man. To see him back there, man, he has some incredible plays, hits. Like, you can go on and on about his career, and obviously all the different guys you've played with over the years. Obviously, that to only be able to pick a few, I know it's tough. But if you could just speak about, and I want to get your opinion on the Bills situation this year. We have everybody says the receiver position is a diva position. All these guys are divas. Obviously, you know more than I do.
It is.
You threw the ball to quite some great ones, so you know it. If you're looking at Stefon Diggs, and the rumblings are coming out saying that possibly, he's having some issue with maybe the coaching staff, like we spoke about. Maybe he's having issues with additions to the team, maybe not happening at the right positions, or just not bringing in the right guy. What's your opinion on the Bills coming up this season and Stefon Diggs?
Well, it's the weird thing about Diggs. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if anybody knows like what the situation was, So is it money? Is it players? Is it concept wise? What's going on within the team? I don't know. But the thing about Buffalo, they have a great organization. They're in the stinking. They're playing for the Wild. They're playing for the AFC Championship like every year right now. They're in the hunt. You just want to be in the hunt for the game, and that's what they are. In the last few years, Diggs has made a huge impact leaving Minnesota and then coming over to Buffalo, making that a winning organization. They're great on both sides of the ball, but who knows what the situation is? I don't know. But it seems like him and Josh Allen have a great connection with each other. Diggs he's a playmaker. And if you lose him, it's not good. It's not good. So, but at the same time, stuff that happens behind closed doors, it needs to stay behind closed doors, whether it's contract wise or we're not getting the ball enough. Receivers, I mean, they're not out there with a health monitor. Like they want the ball. You know what I mean? Everybody, you want the ball. I get it. But so we'll see what happens with them. But it's a great organization. Regardless, that's their winning place to be, and the head coach, all that kind of stuff. They'll work it out, I'm sure, in the end. Good people.
And I just want to say to you again, obviously I didn't do it in the beginning, man, but I want to give you your flowers now. I was a big fan of yours. I was not a big fan of Minnesota.
Right.
Couldn't stand that situation. Not going to say you, but just at that time, it was just real tough for me to like the purple. But I was a big fan of your career, man. And I just want to say, man, kudos to you, man. Great to, I'm going to do a lot of research on your boys now. Yeah. I'm going to be paying the Aggies some attention, man. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, man, to speak to you, man.
I appreciate you reaching out. Obviously, you've kept up. You're a great football fan. You love it. And enthusiasm about it and stuff. But I appreciate you guys reaching out to me and letting me be a part of your podcast and getting you guys' career started in this avenue. So it's going to be fun. But I appreciate you keeping up with me.
It can't get any better. It can't get any better than having a Super Bowl champion to kick off this show. I don't see how do we go? What do we do? Like, do you have any connections with like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady? Like, I'm not understanding. Like, how do we get better? Where do we go from here? Mr. Brad Johnson, I have one more question for you. And this is kind of like, I want to check my ego real quick, right? Like I've played football a few years. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm an X's and O kind of guy. I just love the game. I love the energy that you have to exude to play the game at your best potential. Give me an example of a play call that you call in the huddle right now. It's us three in the huddle. Give me a play call. I want to see if I can break it down. This is an ego thing. Okay, let's go U personnel. Let's go green left, west, U shift, F short, spider 2, Y banana, Z over, heads up for 359 smoke or H2 Miami. I know there's a couple checks in there. I can tell you that much. And the spider 2, Y banana, the tight end, it has a corner route, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Yeah, it depends on if you call Y or whatever the personnel is. Yes. There's a corner. And so basically, when you call a play, so number one, the first thing you do is you always tell the personnel grouping. Is it 11 personnel, 12 personnel? Is
is it two backs, one tight end, two receivers? Is it one back, one tight end, three receivers? So you give the personnel, and then you give the formation, you give the motion, you give the protection, you give the play, and then you give the snap count. All those, and then on top of that, you add the audibles as a heads up, which you might check too. Those kind of things. So a lot goes into it on each play. You don't want to overthink it, but in football, you want to get to you run a lot of the same plays over and over, but you do it with a little bit of magic of whether it's a different personnel grouping, a different motion, a different shift, a different snap count, or different, those kind of things. But a lot of times they end up in the same areas, but just different ways to get to those particular areas. And you got to change up your protections, or otherwise defenses will thrash you. So is it a man protection, slide protection, a 5-man, a 6-man, or 7-man protection? So a lot going on there, but it's something that's rehearsed and practiced over and over and over.
Juan, we were just in the huddle with Brad Johnson, dude. Let's go. Where do we go from here?
I know this, Brad. If had you called that play and I was in the huddle, I would have slid the receiver. Obviously, I have to play receiver. I'm 6'4". But what I would have did was I would have went deep and toss it up, man. That's the best I got. What the heck I was going on when you started talking about the U-turn. That's why I'm a fan of the game rather than a quarterback, man. But, word, man, just a pleasure, man.
Yeah. Eventually,
awesome.
plays are plays, but eventually talent takes over. And that's why you got the big 6'4" going deep. So that's you next time.
I can see that actually being a touchdown, and then we get back to the sideline. You like, what the hell was that? What route was that? Who told you to go deep? Great play.
Yeah.
We should just move on.
No doubt. Sometimes it turns into a little backyard ball.
That was awesome. Right. You don't have to worry about throwing me the ball. I'm only 5'11". I can't jump either. So, ladies and gentlemen, 17-year pro vet, two-time Pro Bowler.
2 times.
Should have been more. It should
have been 5.
At least 5.
I'm gonna say you heard it here. You heard it here on Bill's Man and Friends. 5-time Pro Bowler. Okay, Super Bowl champion, legend, the man, the greatest, the best. Thank you so much for doing this, Mr. Brad Johnson. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Enjoyed being with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sir, cool.
That's fucking Brad Johnson, dude.
Still got it done, man.
That's fucking Brad Johnson, dude. That's Brad Johnson, dude. We just talked to a Pro Bowler. We just talked to a 17-year vet. We talked to a Super Bowl champ, dude.
I don't think it would have been. That would have been a hell of a thing if we would have got Peyton's number. We just called it yo, man, listen, man, don't worry about who it is. We're the new podcasters, man. They're like, who the hell gave you this number? I can see it now, man.
You know what? Getting sued and getting blocked, it's all part of the game here, though. We just talked to Brad Johnson, dude. It's fucking Brad Johnson, dude.
Yes, sir.
That was fucking awesome. Oh, yeah, let me put some respect on his goddamn name. That was Brad Johnson, Super Bowl champ.
Sir. He was a starting quarterback. Wasn't like he played the second string and got a ring. He played the game.
That's not a practice squad guy.
So,
that's a starter. That's a starter. That's a Super Bowl champion. We just talked to.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you know what that means, right?
How many people can say that, man?
We were in the huddle with Brad Johnson. I didn't know what he said, but we were in the huddle.
Right. I didn't understand nothing he was talking about. I swear to God, I did. Not one play. Not one part of the play. Excuse me. I didn't know what the hell he was talking about.
I think I had a little bit right on the Spider 2 wide banana part when the tight end hits that corner. But I still would have ran the route wrong and it would have been incomplete, and I would have got benched and cut. So it don't matter. It don't even matter.
No question. I was definitely going deep. There was nothing else I could do. I didn't know what he said. When he had to say it, I would say, man, I got stung by a bee in my ear and I couldn't focus, so I just ran deep. That's it. That's the best I could do, man.
That was incredible, man. All right, Juan, let's wrap this up. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. YouTube, all platforms on podcasts. We're available on all of it. TikTok, of course, Brick_Walls with a Z. Bill's Man for Real. Give us a follow. Again, thank you guys so much. First episode was clearly a success. I don't know how the hell we go up from here, but we're gonna give it our best. We're gonna give the old college try. Okay, let's get this done. Subscribe, follow, do all of that. We appreciate the hell out of you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you guys next week.